So what I wanted to do is grab my Amazon Echo right here and compare it. It's an Echo Dot. Compare it to the Harmon Kardon Invoke. As you can see right here, if I'm looking at the circuit board down here, and if I imagine the circuit board cuts off to the left of that heatsink right there, so I don't need all the capacitors and op amps for the speakers, I place it over the top of it, and you can see, you know what? It's fairly close. You know what I mean? It's fairly close. But I believe this design is a dead design. Normally when you design something, you have road plans. Let me pull this. You have road plans, future products in mind when you design items, what they're going to go into. And I believe this Harmon Kardon here is a dead end. And that means I really don't see them doing anything more with this. And it's purely my opinion, but I'll explain why I have my opinion. When you're building the circuit board and you're planning out the circuit board, you have economy of scale, which means that the more you can produce of one unit, the cheaper you can get that unit. So I'm looking at this device over here, and it's obvious that the Amazon Echo doesn't have a speaker, doesn't have the op amp, doesn't have any of that stuff necessary in order to drive audio out of it. However, when I look at the circuit board, it's all one circuit board. I find it odd that they would then think, in order to fit this form factor, you would have to redesign this entire circuit board. And you'd have two separate designs. I don't see that working out. I just don't see that as being a viable solution, if indeed they ever thought going that direction. Because if they did, a more economical solution, in my opinion, would be you design your circuit board for your small form factor without all the added stuff for the speakers. Then you produce that one circuit board for your multiple product lines. You have the like Amazon has done. Then when you put it inside a device that has speakers, it's easier to design a mezzanine card to be able to plug into a header of your main card, which then powers the speakers. So you produce one circuit board that fits into your entire product range, so you can manufacture hundreds of them, and they're all the same design, and you have that done. And then the boards that need speakers, you could go ahead and design your mezzanine card, which would just be like a ribbon cable connector to the main board for those that have the speakers. They didn't do that. This is all one circuit board design. Could you redesign the board? Sure. Do I think anybody's going to waste the time to redesign it, and the engineering resources and the manufacturing and the part numbers and the part list and the quality control and everything else, the design, the requirement specifications and all that other stuff that go along with it, the drawings? I mean, oh my God, I'm sitting here getting beads of sweat on my forehead just thinking about the amount of work it would take. And no, because of that, to me, my opinion is the Harmon Kardon Invoke, the design is a dead design. That means that they'll continue to design the Invoke, if at all. As you see, we have a couple headers in there that aren't being used, that may be used in the future, but I just don't see Invoke coming out with something like this. So there's the disassembly of the Harmon Kardon. Hope you enjoyed that video. I'm going to go ahead and move on to my second part of the video, which is actually my hack to get the Invoke to connect up to my whole house audio system. It's not pretty. It's not elegant. I'm sure if Harmon Kardon engineers ever looked at this, they'll probably laugh. You know, I don't have the design. I don't know what these headers do. I don't want to pin them out and try to take this further apart because I just don't want to spend that much time on it. Because I shouldn't have to spend time on it. And that's my point. It was a bad decision, Harmon Kardon, not to allow this thing to be able to act as a transmitter. And when it does, what it should have done is there should be a simple relay on this board which redirects the audio from the amplifier section to a line out. So when this guy's in transmitter mode, these speakers become dead and whatever you connect it to becomes live. That's what I'm doing. But mine's going to be kind of messy, but it is what it is. So hopefully you join me for part 2, which is my solution to make this guy be compatible both as a standalone unit with the speakers engaged, or as part of a whole house audio system.